Good everyone, welcome to this video. Today we have a review on Flegal's BF-109A. Now this review will probably piss off some of you, so hear me out before you jump in the comments and start tearing my throat out or something. I mean, I probably need to do that anyway because my throat is dying because, well, I've sat down and done like 4 reviews today, so. I'm going to say something that may or may not piss off some. I actually like this aircraft. There you go. That's what's going to piss off some of you, I bet. And I can probably hear Harry Feet's like I don't know. He's probably just like dropped his pipe or something in like shock or something. But hear me out. Now, before I begin, I am going to say this straight off the bat. This aircraft is purely situational. And this aircraft has no regards of being a noob player aircraft. This thing just lacks the performance, and this thing just lacks the climb to effectively work for a new player. Because you got to remember, most other nations have biplanes or powerful monoplanes as their first premiums. For example, the USA has Gala's F3F, Germany has this, USSR has Sukovsky's Chaika, Great Britain has Tuck's Gladiator Mark II, Japan has I think they changed it to the Ki 27 Otsu, the Tacharai, which is coming for a review by the way. I think they have. I cannot confirm that, but if anyone happens to know if they have changed that, please do let me know. But otherwise, it is Hajiri's A5M4, which isn't actually that great. China has the Hawk 3, Italy has the Marcolin CR42, France has Pallia's D510, and Sweden has Ikobe's J8A. Every nation apart from arguably Japan has good starter premiums. Japan doesn't have the best starter premiums. That's why I think they should change it, if it hasn't already, to the Ki 27 Otsu, because at least the Otsu is forgiving, because it's a much better climbing aircraft. And Germany could easily receive something like one of the Arado biplanes as something like that. Or if they wanted to go for a monoplane, I'm sure there's plenty of other aircraft that are more than capable of being a premium. Now, I like this thing, and I know that comes as a shock, but hear me out. This aircraft to me is a real challenge. As some of you may know, I like a challenge, and this aircraft is a challenge. Shadow at first, because Shadow's in this battle and he thought it was shit, I said to him, it's not. The problem is that it's very situational. If you fight a CW, you're dead, so no matter what I'm going to show you in this video is entirely pointless if you fight a CW, because the CW will kick your ass. But against most of what you fight, you can put up a good fight. The thing is, though, is that you need knowledge. And as the old saying goes, knowledge is power. And if you have that power, you better use it. And that's what I tried to show Shadow, and Shadow finally learned that this aircraft can work. He just needs to be patient. And that's what I'm going to show here. So if Germany was your first nation to start off with, you should already have this aircraft. But if it wasn't, this aircraft is 250 Golden Eagles. And to be honest, it's a nice little hangar collectible for those who are not as fine-tuned with the 109, shall I say. It's a nice little hangar collectible to have, but personally, this aircraft needs to be changed. Like, this aircraft cannot be a starter premium. I don't think it should. It should really be removed from being a starter player aircraft, and it needs to be something else. But for me, I like this thing because it's more of a challenge than what some people would expect. The thing is that you have to learn it, and learning it takes time. But if you learn it, it can do some work. So let's take a look and I can go over what I mean. So like I say, knowledge is power. Knowing what your aircraft can and cannot do is entirely what this aircraft relies upon. The problem is that as a new player, this thing is not what I would call, how can I put it, like, it's not new player suitable. But for an experienced player, this thing might actually be a good challenge for those. So me and Shadow are in this battle. We're both in Flegal's 109As. And I said to him, okay, it's got a wooden prop, it don't climb, it can turn to some extent, but you need speed behind it. And also it doesn't accelerate very well. And he said immediately, this thing must be shit then. And I'm like, follow me. I told Shadow to follow me the moment we get wheels up. So, the key to mastering this aircraft is to side climb for a start, because obviously the climb rate's only about 2,000 feet a minute, if that. And obviously with Shadow being with me, I said to him, okay, just copy everything that I do, and you will learn this aircraft in just a few games. Now in this battle, we're kind of lucky, because there's only one CW, and he's a dumbass, so at least we don't have to worry about that. So let's skip the climbing phase, because obviously it is a Flegal's 109, it takes forever to climb. I'm not joking, this is 4 times speed, and this is how slow this thing climbs. But during this climbing phase, I was telling Shadow what to do. And that's the thing, Shadow's learnt this aircraft. If Shadow can learn it, and he does some dumb shit, but he mostly does it for laughs. If he can learn it in just 2 games, because that's all it took for us to get this far. I think my first game was 3 kills and my second game was this. Shadow is certainly going to like this aircraft a lot more because I taught him how to fly it. So there you can see the CW, and obviously he's committing to a head-on at the moment, which, well, he does eventually dodge, but that's the thing, like, against the CW, there's really not a lot you can do. You have to hope they're a bit of a dumbass, which this guy luckily was, but don't rely on it. CWs will kick your ass no matter what, even if you're an experienced pilot of this aircraft. But that's the thing, like, I like this aircraft because it's a challenge, and I love challenges. So at this point, the CW pulls up for a head-on, and obviously I fire a quick burst and get out of the way, and obviously I know the 792's at the back of my hand, and I actually ended up critting the engine on the CW. And at this point, Shadow's keeping his speed up like I told him to, and he's like, wow, this thing really does turn when you keep speed up. There's kill number 1, and shortly kill number 2. At this point, Shadow, in his infinite wisdom, because, well, sometimes he forgets to tell you who's on your ass, failed to warn me of the I-16 behind me, so I take a bit of damage, but I'm able to at least extend. Because, as you can tell, this thing can actually dive rather well. At the moment, it's just doing about 340 mph. Obviously, as you get lower and lower, it will obviously bleed speed like it's doing right now. But this aircraft can get itself wound up very effectively. So there's the crit on the CW, his engine is fully dead, and well, I just want to make sure that thing doesn't get back to its airfield. So I do so. And that's kill number 3. So at this point, Shadow's like, okay, I need you to clear my arse, and I'm like, okay, I've cleared the CW. I've got a bit of a fuel leak, but I should be more than capable to continue the fight. And the rest of the airframe damage is minimal, so let's continue on and engage this I-16. So the I-16 pulls for a head-on, I fire a quick burst and get out of the way, I do some minor damage to the aircraft, Shadow pulls for a head-on, and he does get crit, but he also crits the I-16. But obviously now the I-16 is trying to turn with Shadow, but doesn't realise that I'm here still, and obviously using the speed that I built up, I can still turn quite well. And that's kill number 4. See what I mean? This thing can work, but it is very situational. But that's the thing, if you've got a skilled pilot with you, like Shadow can be good when you get him to actually be disciplined. Like he's a good pilot. If you just have a 4-man squad, 2 Flegals, and probably some other aircraft that I can't think of off the top of my head, I think this would work very well. So at this point, I pull up for the Beaufort, and obviously, a Beaufort's tanky, but I said to Shadow, okay, you deal with the Beaufort, I've got some damage into it, I'll deal with the Hawk. And well, the Hawk is not really paying attention, and well, there goes the Hawk, and very shortly the Beaufort is about to go down. So that's the ace for me, and the Beaufort, as you can tell, he's not looking too good, but the Key 44 finishes him off. And that is that. So like I say, this aircraft is highly capable of what it can do. The thing is that it is just very situational. You have to learn this plane before you jump to conclusions. Most people will jump to conclusions and say it can't climb, it can't roll too great, its guns are okay for the BR, but it just doesn't have performance. It does. You just have to give it time. And as you can tell, it works. And I'm fairly certain Shadow's going to be respecting this aircraft a lot more. But anyway, I'm going to let you guys off. I hope you enjoyed today's review on Flegal's BF-109A, and I will catch you all on the next one.